right, today we're going to finish section 6.3. Don't have very much left, just a couple of examples at the end. There we go. All right, example number 9. Jasmine is reading a book. She has 1/4 of the book left, and she has read 246 pages. How many pages does she have left? So, as we're taking a look at this problem, there's more than one way to do the problem. So think about it for a minute and see if you can think what would you do to start the problem. But I'd like for you to think about it because there's at least 2 very different ways that you could start the problem. Well, different anyway. I don't know about very different, but different ways you could start the problem.
I'd start it with 246 over 1 minus 140, and then calculate off.
Okay. So the problem is that the 246 is the number of pages, and 1/4 is a percentage of the book, not the, or of all of the pages.
Yeah.
So it's not, they're not both representing a number of pages, so we can't just subtract them. What would you like to do? Multiply them. So what would we, I don't mean numerical value, but why would we want to multiply them?
When I think of percentages, like you're trying, I don't know how to explain it. When you have this number and you're doing it by a percentage, you normally just multiply them to see how much is left.
Okay, but the 1/4 of the book is 1/4 of the whole book, and the 246 pages is not the size of the book. Like if we knew the number of pages in the book and we multiplied them, then you'd be on the right track. But that's not the pages in the book. That's the pages she has left of the book.
I need to divide.
Okay, so what would you like to divide? Like what would the... what would-
246.
Okay, so like you would like to take 1/4 and divide it by 246.
Yeah.
That's going to get me a really, really, really small number that's already smaller than the 246 pages that I know is already in my book. Summer?
Can we do 3/4 is equal to 246 over?
Okay, so she's read 3/4 of the book. Does everybody understand where the 3/4 came from? Okay. And if we're doing it times x, what you're telling me, Summer, is that x would be what? What's it representing?
All the pages.
Okay, so it's the number of pages in the book. So if I multiply 3/4 times x, and I set it equal to 246, those should be the same quantity. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is definitely one of the ways that would work to find our answer. Yeah, so this is one of our options. This is the one that I actually have written down as well. If I want to solve this now, how do I solve it? Yeah, we would multiply by the reciprocal. We talked about that property last time. So I'm going to get x on the left because the number times its reciprocal times its multiplicative n versus 1. Grab a calculator if you wish, or simplify and multiply out either way. What is 246 times 4/3? 328. Okay, so what is 328? I mean, like, what did we find?
That's the full pages.
Okay, this is the full pages of the book. It's 328 pages. What are we asked to find?
How many pages she has left?
So if she wanted to know how many pages she has left, we're not quite there. How would we find that? We would subtract 328 minus the 246 that she's already read, and what would we get? 82 pages. Lovely. Good job, guys. So be careful when you're working through problems. It's really tempting when you get to an answer that says x equals at the end to think that you're done and to not stop and consider, did I actually answer the question I was asked? Okay, but this one we had not quite gotten there when we found out the x equals. We had to do one step beyond that. Any questions about that one? Okay. Oh, I liked this problem. I think it's fun. This seems like something children would actually do. So we've got Al. Al gives half his marbles to Jose. Jose gives half his marbles to Isabel. And Isabel gives half her marbles to Letitia. If Letitia was given 4 marbles, how many marbles does Al have now? You're going to have to work backwards. That's actually a problem-solving strategy from the early parts of number theory. So let's actually write the people down in order, because I think that might be helpful when we're trying to figure out how to go backwards. So we have Al, and then we have Jose. Who's after Jose? Isabel. And then Letitia. So here's what we know. We know that Letitia has 4 marbles at the end of all of them moving around with the marbles, right? So if we go backwards then, how many marbles did Isabel have before she gave half of them to Letitia? She had 8. And how many did Jose have? He had 16. And how many did Al have? 32. Now, 32 is how many Al had when? Before he gave half away. The question actually asked, how many marbles does Al have now? So how many marbles would Al actually have? Yeah, he now has 16 because he had 32 and he gave half of them away. So again, it'd be really easy to stop with answering 32 for Al. So be really careful on your word problems, especially that you don't get tripped up in what you're finding and stop too soon. Okay? Good deal.